Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee, and on today's video, we're going to ask a question. If you have a distortion pedal you really love, does it matter? It doesn't matter, but does it make a big difference on the different amp heads that you use? So what we're going to do this video is we're going to do a blind test. I'm going to plug a pedal in. I'm going to have a jam. All my videos I have a jam. It's going to be a bit longer of a jam though, because I'm going to set all these to clean. And I'll mark them as colors just so you can identify them. So each one's going to have an affiliated color. And I'm going to put the color up on the screen for each take that I'm using for each different amp. And we're going to see if you can tell the difference between each amp head, or does the pedal do all the work and each amp head kind of just amplifies it and that's it. Or does each amp head have super characteristics that really differ itself from each other amp. So I'm going to record 3 different songs through 3 different pedals. The first song is going to be with the dark matter. I'll just put it there so you can see, the dark matter pedal. So I'm going to keep all these the same, and I'm just going to plug in and out the different amp heads. For the second song, I'm going to use the Black Cat's Djenttonic pedal. And for the last one, we'll use the Joyo UZI pedal, which is always lots of fun. So I'm going to set up my cabinet with my 2 mic technique in the other room. If you haven't seen how I do that, I highly recommend you check out my video on the 2 mic technique on how I like to mic them up. I'll keep the amp heads in this room here, so it's just easier to swap out and do it. And yeah, I'll keep swapping the different takes from all the different amps to shake it up a bit, and they'll all be in all mixed order. I'll put the color up there, and we can, well, you can test your ears. I'm going to definitely be testing my ears as well to see if we can tell the difference between each of these amp heads. So just to give you a quick little brief crash course, for lack of a better term, in these different amp heads, we have the Marshall here, which is kind of middle of the range. I mean, these are all wonderful brands, and they're wonderful in their own way, but price-wise though, the Marshall is pretty middle of the range, which in comparison to everything we have here. Then we have the Kraken here, which is by far the most expensive one out of all of it. We have the Joyo, which is absolutely by far the cheapest, by far. And then we have just below middle of the range, being the Dark Terror little amp head there. So what is going to be very interesting is between the Kraken, so the most expensive, and the cheapest one, in Australian dollars, they're approximately about $1,000 difference between them. So this is going to be really interesting to see if we do plug in some of our favorite pedals. Can we tell the difference between $1,000 between these, or for recording purposes, does it not hold up to the $1,000? I don't know. Now, we're not judging this in regards to is this gear good or bad, but just a fun little experiment, really. And in saying that, let's get on to the actual fun part. So grab yourself a pen and paper, start writing down the colors, and see if you can identify, after listening to 3 different songs, the difference between, not just a difference, hopefully you can hear the difference. Hopefully there is a difference between them. We are going to find out in a moment though. But if you can identify the different amp heads before the reveal at the end of the video. And then, yeah, leave a comment below to let me know how you go. So let's get into the fun part where I'm just going to be jamming, I don't know, for a good few minutes with all these. So sit back, have your pen and paper and a hot drink, if that's what you're into, or a beer, and enjoy. And I'll see you all on the other side. time for my final thoughts on this little experiment that we did today. So firstly, after the reveal, how did you go? Did you match up correctly the right colours with the affiliated amp heads? Or did you have some mixed around? I'm curious to know if anyone got the cheapest and the most expensive one the wrong way around or not. Or if you had all of them wrong. Yeah, or all of them right. Whatever the results, please leave them in the comments because I'd love to see them and see how you go. It was hard for me to really test because I was actually playing it and seeing it and setting it up. So I couldn't do it. I might have to organise a friend to come in and help to see if I can actually do a blind test while playing and see if I can tell the difference. My thoughts on all this then. So firstly, just to run through the colours quickly, we had the Marshall was orange, the Dark Terror was blue, the Kraken was red, and the little Joyo Zombie was green. Out of the three different pedals, I really felt the amp heads played a lot more characteristics in their sound compared to the actual pedals. The pedals definitely helped emphasize all their characteristics, but they didn't carry the sound, which is interesting. Now, just as a little bit of a disclosure, I just set these roughly, not even roughly the same. I just did them clean. I just got a clean sound out of them, got the same volume coming through on the levels there, and then I pretty much just turned this on and kept all the settings the same. Because if I changed any of the EQs on any of these, then that would obviously alter a lot. So I didn't do that. I was just pretty much unplug it from this one and plug it straight into this one and kept going, working my way through it. So I could have spent a lot more time trying to get a more compromised settings to work better with all those, with either individual pedal, but I didn't. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, these two things are really bad together, because they could be really good. I just didn't invest as much time as what I could have in all of it. And I wanted to keep them all exactly the same too. So none of the settings was changed as I was altering through any of them. And even after I recorded them and put them through the studio, I did very little editing there as well, because I wanted to keep it, like all my videos, nice and raw so you get a good idea of what each relationship is going to sound like. So in saying that, let's talk through some of these. I'll just do by each pedal first, just so I've got some order here. So the Dark Matter worked really well through the Marshall. I liked it. It worked well with the Orange, yet I have had these two combinations before, so that wasn't a surprise at all. It wasn't too bad through the little Joyo Zombie here. Not wow, but yeah, not bad. I think it lacked the most actually in the Kraken. Now, not to say that the Kraken is bad, it's not worth its dime. I'm not saying that at all. But the relationship between these two wasn't the best, which I'll move on to the next pedal, the Djenttonic, because I felt like these two worked a lot better together, the Kraken and the Djenttonic. I felt like the grunt and the bite that the Djenttonic gives off, the Kraken just really lapped up and really utilized and what's the right terminology? It enhanced it comfortably, for lack of a better term. So yeah, that was really good, because after using the Dark Matter first and then putting the Djenttonic through it afterwards, I was pleased with those results running through that. The Djenttonic running through the Dark Terror, I've done that before, so I wasn't surprised with those results. This really, I feel this brings out some really good stuff out of the Dark Terror amplifier. Didn't work the best through the Joyo, but I don't know if these levels were a little bit too high, a little bit too pushy for this or not. They weren't bad, but it just wasn't really wow. Through the Marshall, don't want to interrupt the cat while she's sleeping. Through the Marshall, it worked really comfortably. And then moving on to the Use It I, little Joyo pedal here. This worked not too bad through all of them. I felt like this pedal kind of, how can I put it? Had the least amount of clarity out of all three pedals across all the amps. But it kind of handled it all well. Wasn't, as I said, not bad, just different compared to the other two. So as a little bit of an overall conclusion, I feel like the Marshall handled all the pedals the most consistently throughout the whole playthrough. And the Kraken was really good, the best with the little Djenttonic there, but not bad through the little Joyo pedal. But a little bit dry on the Dark Matter. The Joyo little Zombie wasn't too bad. I think it matched up best with its own brand, which I don't know if that's unclouded because they are their own brand, and I was keen to see if they'll play nice together or not. I don't think there's a reason why it would play better or worse just because it's the same brand. It shouldn't really make a difference because they are still independent pieces of equipment. Yeah, the Dark Terror wasn't too bad through all of it. So yeah, that's pretty much my test, running through a distorted sound through the clean settings of all these amps. Now, it'd be a very, very different experience if I dialed in some distortion through all these amps and then used these pedals as more of a little boost and a little bit more of a colouring to its sound, for lack of a better term, rather than revolving around its distortion fully independently. So that's definitely worth taking note of. So there it is. There are my quick thoughts, because I could keep going into more detail and going backwards and forwards through it, but that's just my quick thoughts on this little video. But how did you feel? How did you feel with the Kraken working with all these different pedals? Do you agree with me thinking this was maybe a little bit too dry, or if I'm overreacting? And just because this one worked differently with those other ones, I'm clouded with my hearing, which is possible because I played these all back to back and consistently in one big sitting. So I could definitely be a little bit hearing fatigued between them all. So I definitely tried my best to do it. I mean, in hindsight, I could have definitely slept on it and come back the next day and listen to them with fresh ears to get more of a detailed opinion of it. But doesn't matter, because yeah, what really matters is your opinion on what you feel. So yeah, how do you feel about the Joyo, how it handled it all? And how do you feel about the Marshall? Do you agree with me thinking it was the warmest out of all of them, or do you think it was the driest? However you feel, I definitely want to hear it. So this is definitely a long video. Oh, sorry, did I wake you up, Piper? Good girl. Yeah, it's definitely a long video for me to put together to do all the different takes and all the different setting up and editing. It was definitely lots of fun though. So definitely keen to hear your feedback if you do like these type of videos where they're a little bit fiddlier for me, so to speak, rather than some of my other videos that I've done, or if you prefer some of the other ones. Definitely keen to hear your feedback. So in saying that, I'll do my usual sign off. So whether this video is in the foreground or the background, definitely appreciate your company and joining me on this conversation. So please like and subscribe and share this video around and help this channel grow into more than what it is. And I look forward to hearing any suggestions, ideas, thoughts, and anything you want to chat about in regards to music equipment and heavy metal. So until next time, please stay safe.